you ain't about shit. You know the ones?
Yo, what's going on? My name's North. This is the Ones Podcast. I'm here with Eri, Badgal Eri.
And we have Shaine CRSB as our special guest today.
What's up?
Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Shaine CRSB, Toronto DJ, producer.
Big Toronto DJ.
Yeah, you know, I
Big.
do some work in the city. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just a music man. Just love what I do.
Definitely.
So how did you start DJing and how long have you been DJing?
I was actually a bedroom DJ for like a solid 2 years. I would just be at home, just like making mixes strictly for my own like enjoyment. And then I didn't really start getting into it until like late 2013, like around Christmas time. I had met a friend of mine. He like moved me around the scene, introduced me to a bunch of people, and I like officially started DJing like under like an actual moniker. I would say like early 2014. It's probably around there.
So it's been about like 4 years almost.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years.
And you've done so much.
You know?
Do you remember your first show?
It's kind of a blur. So shout out to Lefty Hector. He put me on to it was like an artist showcase, and that's where Tona heard me. Shout out to Tona. Tona was like, whoa, like you could spin, like you're nice. I was like, well, yeah, you know, practice. And all my
in my bedroom.
yeah, my uncles are DJs, my dad's a DJ, so I always heard it around the house. I was always exposed to a lot of music and like how it should properly be done. And then like next twos, like Tona was asking me to come and DJ with him and like Sybil. Shout out to Bobby. Like one of my first gigs, like big gigs ever at 170 Spadina, like, warehouse. Yeah,
that's why it's crazy.
That's where it basically all began, and I just started meeting more and more people, and it just like went crazy in like no time. It was nice. Yeah.
So could you tell us a little bit about Beast Mode?
Beast Mode is, or was, I don't know if it's still in operations or what they're doing. It's a collective of creatives. Like from what my understanding is, collective of creatives with like-minded goals. We all have like the same palette when it comes to that melding of EDM, hip hop, house, and like, you know, tropical island music, Jamaican reggae, stuff like that. It was like a mishmash of like everyone on that team, or everyone who was on that team, like could do anything. You need a producer to make a hip hop track, like a boom bap J. Cole joint. You have a producer for that. You have a producer for EDM. You have a producer for house. Like there were like so many talented guys under that roof. It was crazy.
That even listening to your stuff on what was that station you guys had? TRP. Yeah. I used to tune into that stuff because it was really, you never knew what was coming, but it was always like really dope. What were those sessions like?
It's just fun. So many so many epiphanies doing those sets. I would do stuff on that radio show that would just stick, and that would go into my set. So that was like almost like when you're working out a muscle and it just gets stronger.
Yeah.
And I'm doing all these new mixes I've never done before. I'm making it work, and then like I go out and it bangs. Like it's crazy.
I can imagine.
Yeah,
still.
That was an experience.
I can imagine, for real.
Yeah.
So speaking of Beast Mode and working with creatives, who are some of the creatives in Toronto and artists that inspire you?
Hero is my guy. I don't know if you guys heard
Hero?
of him.
No, not yet.
Yeah,
No.
if you haven't
I'm
heard of
check
him,
him out.
you need to look him up.
Is there like a special spelling?
It's just HERO.
Yeah.
On SoundCloud, I think he goes by Your Friend Hero.
Okay.
And then on Instagram, he's hero.exe.
Is he a DJ or?
He can DJ. He doesn't really, but man, that guy throws down. But as far as production, writing, and all that goes, vocals too, he's top notch. I haven't really heard someone who mixes and engineers the way he does. He's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely checking him out.
There's Hero, obviously like Zepfire too. Huge inspiration.
Shout out Zepfire, man.
Who else? All of Toronto, honestly. Like, there's no one I can like single out. It's just like as my main inspiration. Everyone, like everything I've seen, everyone that I've met, everything that I've been hearing, like just like goes into like what I do. And
what about like outside of Toronto?
Yeah.
Outside of Toronto?
That's what I'm curious about. Like, cause I like, you know, when you DJ, 'cause I DJ a little bit,
Yeah.
And like when I go to Montreal, the energy is just different there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
What was your experience like? Do you remember like one of your first experiences or like
In Montreal?
In Montreal, like I'm curious about that.
Oh yeah, one of my first gigs was at the Blue Dog.
Yes, I
And
love that spot.
That's a vibe.
Yeah,
like,
man.
Those guys love to turn up. And you can play anything as long as it's good of good taste. You can play like your own music and they'll vibe with it as long as you do it properly. Keisha Nada, like he's one of the main reasons why I started spinning, because my dad was a funk 80s house DJ, and then I heard Keisha flipping all that stuff and I was like, whoa, like people are still on that wave.
Yeah.
And I started doing it myself, and it helps mold my sound. Like Keisha is a huge inspiration outside of Toronto.
Yeah.
Stu, all the way from Paris, he's another one. He's crazy. Yeah, I could go on and on. Honestly, there's like too much inspiration. There's a lot going on.
That's how I know you're like really into it, because you're like paying attention to what's going on the ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But even to extend on that question, like being on tour with like Party, like what was that like?
I like honestly, man, that's an experience you can't pay money for. Like priceless.
How did that come about?
So I used to live in Mississauga with my mom, Rathburn and Tonkin. That's where
City True.
Yeah.
West Side.
Me, Party, and a few other, well, actually no, it's mainly just me and Party that live in that complex. Our moms knew each other. Like they would stop in the hallway and talk and stuff. Like it was a triplex. I lived in B202. He lived in A102. So we were diagonal. Our balconies face the same way. I knew him from time. My mom would drape him up and bring him in the house. I don't know. People don't really know this. He was a little troublemaker in our area. My mom would drape him up in the house and like talk to him and all his little friends. I'd walk by and just be like, "It's little waste seats." But like,
he has that look still. He looks like a troublemaker.
He
definitely looks like one.
He gets up like, we're just kids though. We were dumb back then.
Exactly.
But yeah, we just always knew each other. We weren't like buddies. I would never claim to be like his best friend, but we always just knew each other. And I remember every time when I was coming home from work, I would see this guy in the parking lot with his boys, and they're all just like, you could tell they're up to something, like they're plotting. And I was like, what are these guys doing? Like, what is every day you guys are having meetings in the parking lot, just chilling.
Like before he dropped the project?
Yeah, before anything popped
off.
off.
Did you know he made music though?
Yeah, I always knew him as Jerron B. I always see his stuff on Facebook and everything.
Yeah, Jerron B. I remember seeing that name too.
Yeah, and then on Tutus, he was out of the city. He was just gone. Never saw or heard from him. And then one day, I'll never forget, I was actually at work. I get a message and he's already Party OMO at this point. And my heart sunk. I was like, why is this guy hitting me up? He heard, I guess, what I had been doing with Beast Mode and stuff. And he's like, you ever been on tour? You ever like DJ for an artist? I was like, no, this has been like my first excursion ever. He's like, okay, come to the rehearsal. I went in, and it was just like, it was nuts. Like walking into that rehearsal space and seeing him in the new light, I was just like, this guy, like crazy.
Glowed up.
Yeah, big time. But that whole experience, like, it wasn't even just about being on tour with Party or whatever. It was growth personally, because I had been booed for the first time ever. So imagine every show you play, everyone was like, yo, you're crazy, you're sick. And then I end up, fast forward to Washington, D.C., 2014.
Wow.
And the crowd was just not having it.
What were you playing? Just
like hip-hop. And like, I was really, really about my like R&B beats, like Soulection wave back then. I guess that crowd was just like, we want to hear ratchet shit or get off the stage. That's literally what it was. And they had already had a DJ playing before me, so they're already restless. That is when I faced my greatest fear, and that's what made me like, now I pull up to an event, I don't even think twice. I'm just like, let's get it.
So you recently opened for Joe K's Soulection radio tour at the Mod Club. How was that following like the whole Party Next Door tour?
That was probably the most fun I've had on stage in a long time, because at that point, it's funny, I had just discovered this stack of CDs that I had made when I was like 14. I was just like, I was a music guy. I always had the tracks out. Like at high school, everyone wanted my Walkman because I just always had the tracks out. And I was going through all these CDs, like, wow, like I feel like I've rediscovered myself. Like this is a different aspect of my like palette that I've just not been entertaining. I've just been on the trap shit. So rewinding to that, and then having that show come up, I was able to express that part of myself to like, what was it, 600 people. That was crazy, and I was just having fun. I was talking my shit on the mic, just like dancing, carrying on, because it was at like a point where I was really feeling the music. Like, I love new music and stuff, but I love my old shit. I love my R&B. I love my like old Killies, Neptunes, all that shit. It's like, you know what I mean? For sure. So I was on stage just having the most fun. Man. I felt like I was at home just like vibing.
I wish I could have been there.
Oh,
you guys sold out fast,
sold out
bro.
quick.
And obviously being able to meet Joe K.
Yeah, man.
He's a great guy. Him and I hope I say her name right, Sahar Habibi. She's super sick.
I think you nailed it still. Yeah,
she's like such a nice girl. She like nice the guest list for me. She's like, yeah, all your friends, like whatever, don't worry about it. I was like, what? Like, it was such a good vibe. Yeah, that was amazing.
What venue was that at again?
Mod Club.
That was at Mod Club?
Yeah.
What is like your favorite spot to spin at right now, if you have one? Or even if it's not open right now.
Yeah.
Even if it's like an old spot, like
Hoxton was one of the places I had like my best experiences.
Yeah.
I remember vividly one time I was spinning and these girls were like grabbing my foot. Like
grabbing your foot on the stage?
Yeah. I was like,
yo, Hoxton used to be nuts. Table?
Yeah, and they like were reaching, like trying to get my. I was like, okay, this is sick. Like, I had a lot of fun.
Big
at the
superstar.
Hoxton's legendary, like crazy.
I got to crowd surf there once too.
Oh yeah.
At the Travis show,
yeah.
I was too amped and I was like hopping on stage. And I'm like, yo, the security guard gave me a look. I'm like, let me chill still. And I turned around and then I felt someone grab me. I thought it was the security guard, so I started pushing back. And then I looked back. It was Travis, and he's like, yo, come up stage. He gave me the mic. He's like, yo, just rap. So I rapped his Uptown verse, and then he's like, yo, go jump. I'm like, are you sure? Like, I don't want to get dropped. And like, I went to the back, and then I gave Brittany a black eye. I'm sorry, Brittany.
Oh shit.
We're friends now though.
So we all know Toronto's music scene is like pretty booming right now. Has that affected like the nightlife and things for you, things for other DJs?
Definitely, it's provided opportunities.
Much more.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot more out of towners.
Yeah.
Coming around. Yeah, like before it was mainly like the ones who knew. That's who you'd see at the apartment 200s or the Libertines or whatever. But now I'm noticing, not just through my reach, you got people like JMKM, you got Tio, like my bro. Geno is killing it too. So as we're all like shining, that reach is like extending, and then those people who are hearing about it are coming into the city, showing up to our events, and it's a different face now. Like I like it. It has its pros and its cons, obviously, because that new crowd brings like almost like new rules in terms of DJing. It's kind of weird because like I could just play a bunch of obscure unknown shit at apartment and it would be fine. Exactly. Now I have to be careful because I could lose a crowd. You know, it's kind of different. But
and there's a lot more like brand deals and sponsorships and partnerships and stuff like that going on in Toronto DJs as well.
Big time. Like you see it on the gram all the time. Open box, like shout out to so and so. That's how it goes.
Yep.
That wasn't happening for us like circa 2014. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So things
but that's like
changing.
It's interesting because it's like that's what influences now.
Yeah.
Like the influencers that are coming in, it's like what does that mean for the community? Like it's doing a lot of good things, but at the same time, it's putting a lot of bars around things.
Yeah, there's a bit of like A, oversaturation, B, because the corporate heads are the one with all the money, they call the shots, right? So then it places restrictions on certain things. But so far I haven't really seen it get like like in the way, like where people are like selling out or something. They like, more or less trust us.
What's like the biggest corporate gig that you've had so far?
Biggest corporate? I've done Adidas. I actually did one with Flight Center, which is crazy.
Flight Center? What was that? Like their Christmas party or something?
No, like their I guess they had like an awards for all their employees, and that
must have been fun.
They went all out. They had like contortionists hanging from the ceiling and stuff. Like that was mud. Like
yeah, man, that's worldwide right there.
Yeah. But other than that, probably Adidas. Like it's probably the biggest company I've worked for so far.
What show was that?
It was at the Soho House.
Oh man,
I forget what release it was. it's escaping me right now. But yeah, that was a good one. I met a lot of good key people through that as well. So that was nice.
Dope. What are some of your like favorite artists? Like, what are you listening to right now?
I don't know. Like Frank Ocean is constantly on rotation. Constantly. Just
For real.
that guy. He's a special guy. That's a special individual. Other than that,
Anyone from Toronto, specifically?
Sean Leon,
Yeah.
big time. He's murking it.
Shout out Sean Leon.
Yeah.
Big up Sean Leon. Bomb.
Obviously, Calm Down. Those are my
man.
bros. Who else? Always with the K Tronada. I love that vibe. Even the old shit, I still bump it like it came out yesterday.
Yeah.
Internet, yeah, all that stuff. I'm more of an R&B guy. Like you'll notice, like my catalog is very melodic. But you know, there's trap bangers too. Like Famous Dex is killing it. You got Lil Sky is killing it. Gunna's nice.
Gunna's
That
drippy
album's
right
nice.
now.
Yeah.
Gunna's proper.
That's basically the rotation.
Okay. Shout out to Frank.
So what's next for you? You're working on a new project, right?
Yeah, I got Frisson. So that's
You want to tell us about that?
Frisson is.
We were trying to pronounce that earlier. That was hard.
Yeah.
We didn't know. We're like, are we pronouncing it right?
I had to figure out how I was gonna say it and how I was gonna present it to people, because it is one of those words that translates through different languages, French specifically. But yeah, basically it's just an expression of like what moves me as a DJ. Like more or less, that's pretty much it. I'm trying to project that, show people what I'm on, for those who care, you know, and then allow that to grow in whatever direction that could be, whether that be production, get onto radio, anything really. It could go in any direction. I'm not really trying to pinpoint it to just one thing. If I feel like the next move fits the brand, then I'm gonna do that.
Go in that direction.
Yeah.
I hear that. No, I relate to a lot of that because I remember listening to Beast Mode and I was really inspired to start doing mixes. I was DJing since grade 9 as well, but like hearing Beast Mode, I was like, yo, this stuff is so like eclectic. There's so much different spices in it, you know. So I'd like to see that movement like come back.
Reemerge.
I'd like to see it reemerge. I know you guys are all doing like your individual thing on a high level, so it's hard to like come back and like regroup after. But like, you know, we have group chats now. I'm sure it could happen.
Yeah.
I'm sure it could happen.
Group chats.
Like, you know.
I'm always down to collab with people. I'm not like a snob in any way. Like if someone comes by and they're like, yo, Shane, like, let's work. As long as it fits what I'm trying to do,
Exactly.
I'm all with it.
Facts.
100%.
So let us know where we can find you on social media, on SoundCloud.
Everything's the same. Shaine CRSB. Shaine with an I. So it's SHAINE CRSB. Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, Mixcloud. Yeah, it's all the same.
Well, thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No, anytime, man.
Dope.
Appreciate it.